Good morning, good people. It is currently 9 in the morning, Monday, December 23rd, which means 2019 is ending very soon. So I decided to make a Things I've Learned in 2019 video. For those of you who know, this year has been like a hard-ass year for me. I started my year off trying to kill myself, moved to Vegas, lived with my boyfriend for a hot minute, left the job I loved and had for 2 years. Like, it was just a mess. So I learned a lot of big and important life messages that I want to share with you guys. So here we go. Alright, lesson number 1. You make time for people you care about. So what does that mean? Well, as an adult, you don't have a lot of free time. You have work, sometimes you have school, and then you want to have time for yourself to like clean the house, do laundry, and it becomes very hard to have time for the people you care about, like your friends. So one of the things a close friend of mine taught me is that when you care about someone, you will make time to see them. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're spending time with that person. You don't have to like dedicate a whole day to hang out with one person, especially if they're a good friend of yours. Like, you could just meet up with a friend while they're in school, during their hour break, and just walk around campus talking with them. You can like meet up with your friend somewhere close to both of you guys, go to a shopping center and not buy a damn thing, just walk around talking to each other. It doesn't necessarily matter what you're doing. What matters is spending time with the people that you care about. And granted, it's hard to make time, but it's not impossible, and that's something I learned this year. If you really care about someone, you will do everything in your power to make the time to see them. Thing I learned number 2. So I learned that I'm a modern day nomad. So what does that mean? Well, nomads were those people who, way back in the day, like caveman time, when people would just wander, like they weren't set in certain areas. You saw this a lot with Native American tribes. So they wouldn't settle in like one little area, like make it into a town or anything. You would stay in one spot for food. Once you're out of food, you go to another spot. Once you're out of that, you go to another spot. So they're constantly moving. They constantly are seeing something new. So I say I'm a modern day nomad in the aspect of I don't like a routine. I don't like staying in the same area. I don't like doing the same thing over and over again. I need adventure, you know? And being a modern day nomad, I learned that adventure is everywhere. Now that's something I've always believed, but I always do that. I don't have time for this, which goes back to the first lesson, like you can make time for anything. So I have recently been going to cute little coffee shops and just looking around and enjoying them. This year I actually went back to St. George and had like a damn good time there. Within day 2 I wanted to come home, but like day 1 was phenomenal. So if there's anyone else that feels the same way I do, like doing the same thing over and over again, it's just boring and you don't like it, then find places you've never gone to and just explore. It's one mini adventure, doesn't take that long, and it's a lot of fun. It's like a reset button. I recommend it for everyone like that. Old dogs are still giant puppies at heart. So my dog Dixie, he's like, I don't know, 13, 12. He's an old man. And when he was a puppy, I used to get like his dog food, because he would not eat dog food. I used to get his dog food, put it in the kitchen, and I'd flick it, and he'd have to chase after it and eat it. And you know, I decided to try that out one day, and he does the same thing. He remembers the game. And like after doing that, I've noticed he's become a lot happier and a lot more playful. So this lesson kind of like taught me that like dogs, even though they get older and you can see it wearing on them, they still want to play and have a good time. So like, don't forget to do that with them while you still have them. They don't want to, like, at least my dogs, they don't want to like just sit around all day like laying around doing nothing. Like, you still got to play with them, give them extra love, go gentle with them and easy on them, but still. And that just, it's kind of like that with like people too. Like, just because you haven't done something you really like in a long time doesn't mean you're not gonna like it. So just try it, you know? Like, I didn't paint for like months, and then I started painting, and I do these cloud paintings and I really love them, and it's so much fun. And I wouldn't have known that if I would have just stopped painting, because I haven't painted in forever, you know what I mean? So yeah. Lesson number 5. So just because, how do I explain this? Let me read it how I wrote it. Give people a chance. Just because you didn't talk to so-and-so in high school doesn't mean you guys won't be friends now. So what I mean by that is, like, I don't know about you guys, but like the people in my high school I still heavily talk to, but I'm also kind of fresh out of high school. It's been like 2 years. And there's this person who sat next to me my senior year in high school. He was a sophomore, and we just talked every day, and we were cool. And that was the end of it. I moved, went to college, never really talked to him. But he started talking to me again, like recently, especially since I moved home. And he's one of my best friends now. Period. As we would do. But like, there's no doubt about it. And so just give people a chance. Everyone changes, everyone grows, you know? Alright, number 6, get a hard drive. So I had pictures from from middle school, pictures and videos from middle school, going all the way till April, I want to say. Like April of 2019. I had pictures, I had videos, I had everything on my computer. And my computer crashed, and I lost everything. So trust me when I say, spend a little extra money and get yourself a fucking hard drive. Because I had pictures that could easily go in an art gallery that I only have copies of on Facebook, but you know, Facebook messes with the quality, so the quality's shit, so like, what's the point of even having it, you know? I have it to like look back on, but I don't have it, like, I can't sell it, period. That's just how it is. So get yourself a hard drive. Okay, you thinking about it? Get a hard drive. Do it. You know your limits better than anyone. And the example I'm going to use for this one is my ferrets. For those of you who don't know, ferrets are really hard animals to own because they're really mischievous. They sneak into everywhere. They're tiny. Their spines are weird. So like, if their head can fit somewhere, their whole body can fit because their spine is like flexible. Ferrets are just weird animals, and they're the best. I love them. Everyone told me to stop at 2. 2 is enough. 2 is a lot of work. I had to, and was like, this ain't shit. This is fine. Saw a 3rd one at a kill shelter, decided to pick him up. You know, 3 was hard at first, not gonna lie, because Bimo was a lot to handle. He had a big personality. Opal and Charlie were relatively calm, so I wasn't used to a crazy ferret, but once I got used to a crazy ferret, I was like, wow, this is really freaking easy. Okay. Then I got a 4th ferret. When I got the 4th ferret, I thought about getting a 4th ferret. So when I was thinking about getting a 4th ferret, everyone was like, Janine, you're crazy, do not. I have 4 ferrets, it was the worst decision I've ever made. They're so much work, they stink so much, right? But I know my limits. I know how I am with my 3. So I was like, I could totally handle a 4th one. So I got my 4th one. The only thing that's different is I clean out their cage more often. That's it. Like, it was hard at first because Opal and my baby boy Latte, they fought, but now they sleep together and Latte snores. Like, it's not hard. You have to buy more food, more litter. That's about it. But that's what's expected. So at the end of the day, you know your limits better than anyone. And so, yeah, I say that with my favorite example. And I say that in the aspect of, you know, when you're pushing yourself too much, you feel it. So if anyone tries to stop you from like your daily hustle or doing your grind or just pursuing something, you know yourself better than anyone. So do not allow people to stop you from doing what you want to do and what you feel is right. As long as it's not hurting nobody, you're not doing anybody any harm. Nothing is permanent. So what do I mean by that? Nothing's permanent. At the end of the day, we're all gonna die, right? At the end of the day, we're gonna lose everything we have. That's just what happens. So why obsess over the little things if nothing's permanent? You know, why not go out and get that tattoo you've been wanting to get? Why not go out and dye your hair green? Nothing's permanent, and that's okay. An example of this is I tried to dye my hair peach. And you look at like this part, it's red. I don't want red hair right now. I wanna see, because what my plan is I want to do peach right now and then have peach for a month and then maybe do, I don't know, transition that into an orange and then transition that into red. It came out fucking red. And you know, I was upset about it for a little bit, but you know what happens? I waited and changed my hair. It's okay. Things don't always turn out as planned, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If anything, you learn from the experience and you grow from it. Alright, so another thing I learned, I think we're at 12 now, is just because something is done in one culture doesn't mean you can't incorporate it into your life. Cultural appreciation also exists. So what do I mean by this? Because we hear a lot about cultural appropriation, especially with Black people. It just happens. And Native Americans, like with the headdresses, and Indians with the bindi, right? We just hear about it all the time. So what is cultural appreciation? An example of cultural appreciation, for example, in Native American culture, which I am not an expert in, I just know a little bit. So the headdresses with the feathers and stuff, everyone knows those are offensive. They're rankings of chiefs, right? But you are very interested in Native American culture and you're fascinated by it and you just like what it stands for and you like the lessons and the meanings, right? So you could wear certain gemstones. I don't want to tell you what gemstone it is because I'm not 100% sure, but one of my friends, he's Native American, and he wears a lot of these stones. And it's one stone, it's blue, he wears it all the time, and it's at the point where when I see someone else wearing it, I'm like, okay, they're Native American, or they know about the culture. Another thing too is dream catchers. You know, just little things to show that you appreciate the culture and that you're not making fun of it and that you don't know about it, you know? So I learned about cultural appreciation with Day of the Dead. So for those of you who don't know, Day of the Dead is a day to honor people who died and to kind of live in their memory. And I always thought it was just a Mexican thing, but when we went, I saw this altar and I saw a Black person in it and I was like, huh? What's going on? And I was just looking and it was Trayvon Martin. And I saw a lot of other young Black men who had been killed by police brutality, and the whole thing was like to bring awareness about this stuff. And I was just like, oh, yes. And we kept walking and I saw another altar and it had oh my Lanta, I don't want to mess up her name. I know her name's Martha and she's one of the first trans activists, and it had a bunch of other trans, not even just trans, LGBT activists. And, you know, I didn't know a lot about the people, so we asked the guy and he gave us the history about these people, and it was phenomenal. And just that alone made me want to create, like, altars for Day of the Dead for people who have died and made, like, an impact on my life personally. It's just, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It's appreciating a culture. It's appreciating what it stands for and the lessons you learn. And that's okay. It's fine. It's fine to appreciate a culture. And on top of that, if you're not sure if what you're doing is wrong, talk to someone. Get some feedback. It's okay. And those people, if your intentions are good, then the reaction should be okay. There are some scrummy people in the world that like to tear people down, but if you talk to the right people and your intentions are good, you don't have anything to worry about. So the next thing I want to talk about is something that's at me. And this note says, just post that video on YouTube. There's an audience for everyone, and even if no one watches your videos, at least you're creating something. So I literally at one point had 20 videos lined up and ready to post, but I didn't want to post them for whatever reason, just because of my own insecurity, because I want to be a filmmaker, but I don't feel like I'm making films yet. But everyone has to start somewhere, you know? I'm still learning how to edit, still learning how to like shoot things in a cinematic way. I don't really know how to like story tell properly. I just know what works with my friends and the group of people I'm with. I know how to read a crowd. So how do I like tell a good story to a camera? You know, it's just a lot that I still need to work on. And so one thing one of my coworkers actually told me is that there's a demographic for everything. Like, you name it, there's someone out there that's interested in it. And if that isn't something that makes you just want to keep going, then I don't know what will be, but maybe this will. So even if like you create something and you don't like it, at least you made something. At least you did something. At least you got that creative energy out and you tried your best and something was created. You still pieced together something from nothing and created something. It's your baby. You gave birth to that shit. Like, so yeah, fuck it, just do it. That's my advice essentially. The next thing is, if you don't like someone, cut them out. If you don't like where you live, move. If you want something to happen, do it. Like, the universe isn't gonna read your mind and magically make things line up. That's not how things work. You have to work for things in order for it to happen. You can't expect things to just be handed out to you like on a platter, because that's not how it works. You gotta like work hard for shit, and you have to put in that effort. And you know, if you're unhappy, you gotta evaluate why you're unhappy and then do something to change that in order to be happy. Because if you're unhappy doing the same shit every day and you know you're unhappy doing the same shit every day, why are you going to continue doing the same shit every day? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting it to change, you know, because shit's not going to change. You want something to change? You make that change happen. Period. Don't wait for nobody. Just do it your damn self. You need money to move? Okay. Work, grind, get out of here. You need help finding out how to like cut out that friend? Okay, talk to someone you're close with. Have an intervention. Cut that bitch out. Like, it's not that hard. You want to dress a certain way? Dress that way. You can't afford it? Work a little extra, a little harder. Find a way to save your money a little differently. Do side hustles. Save a little money. Buy the stuff you want. You want to listen to a certain type of music, but your friends don't listen to it? Fuck your friends. Listen to the music. Like, put yourself first. You're all you have at the end of the day, so take care of yourself. Put yourself first. Do what makes you happy. Life is too short to be unhappy. That's basically the main thing I learned. Which brings us to the next point. Your mental health is more important than your physical health. Now, I say this because physical health is something that's taught right off the bat. Like, something hurts, you're crying about it. Your parents are like, what's wrong? My arm hurts. They check it out, whatever. But when you're sad about something or you're upset about something and you don't know how to like release that emotion, like an example, when you're a kid, you cry because like your feelings are hurt. A lot of times your parents will tell you to shut up or stop crying. It's not that big of a deal. Man up. Or you're just crying because you're on your period. Whatever. And you know what? That shit's toxic and that stays with you for your whole life. And then you're like struggling with your mental health and you don't even know it. So because of that, like, mental health is just, it's a lot more important than physical health, simply because we don't talk about it. We don't teach about it. No one knows how to handle it really at the end of the day. And it's a silent killer. It's something that like everyone deals with, in one way or another, but no one knows exactly how to treat it, how to handle it. I mean, you can take medication and do different things, but like it's different for everyone. You need to like evaluate how to fix it, you know what I mean? And a lot of people don't have the resources for that, the time for that, the money for that, and it's hard out here. So definitely take care of yourself, evaluate how you're feeling on the inside, and think about it. If you can't afford anything else, you know, watch videos about mental health, see what's going on, see if there's anything that explains why you react a certain way, why you do this, and take care of yourself, please. Because when you have a mental illness, it's an illness. It's called a mental illness for a reason. I mean, it doesn't have to define you, but at the end of the day, you're sick, you know? And you can't get over a cold without taking medicine. You can't, like, heal from something by ignoring it. You have to face it head on and treat it. And that's something a lot of us don't do with mental health. We don't face it head on, we just avoid it. And that's why I feel like your mental health is more important than your physical health, because with physical health, it's easier to, like, diagnose and fix everything, but with mental health, it's a lot harder. Okay. So, these are things my friends have taught me. My friend Rowan taught me that once you've hit rock bottom, the only place you can go is up. And that is so true. Once you're at your absolute lowest, that means everything's going to start looking up from there, so you're good. My friend Brianna taught me, jeez, I can't talk, it's too early. My friend Brianna taught me, people who don't grow together stay shitty together, which is super true. Super true. Because if you're not willing to change and evaluate how you are and be like, okay, maybe I am the asshole in this situation and I should do something different, then you're just going to end up being with the same shitty people, doing the same shitty things and being unhappy. And then the last thing my friend taught me, going back to Rowan, he taught me to absorb the good, obliterate the bad, but also learn from the bad. So I talk a lot about like cutting people off and like doing what makes you happy, but that doesn't necessarily mean you should forget about the bad things that happen. You need to learn from the bad things that happen, because I'm a firm believer that everything that happens for a reason. And if I say happens one more time, I swear to God, but you know what I mean. Things just line up for a certain reason, and you learn at the end of the day. Like, when my computer crashed, I learned I needed to get a hard drive, maybe even a backup hard drive, so that never happens again, because that shit was devastating. But I wouldn't have never learned that if it never happened, you know? And even then, like, what would have happened if I had more stuff on my computer and I started making like short films and I had clips and nothing was edited, and then my computer crashed? That's like months of work gone down the toilet, you know? That's bullshit. So like, everything happens for a reason. The bad teaches you lessons, and that's a good thing. So learn from those lessons, don't ignore them. And yeah, I think that's a little bit more than 19 things I learned in 2019, but those are the things I learned this year. So let me know if you learned anything, or if there's anything you want to carry on to this new year. I want this new year to be filled with money, growth, saving, positivity, love, and adventure. And that's what I'm going to take into 2020. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Stay tuned for my next adventure. All right, you guys have a good day and a good year. See you next year. All right, bye.